And Bill said, Georgia. And you should have seen the smile on my uncle's face. Because my uncle was from Georgia. He was a good man. And after the excitement wore off a little bit, I asked him, where in Georgia was he from? Because I'm from Georgia. And I thought maybe he was from my hometown, Macon. And Bill, with this kind of a gesture, says, Waycross, Georgia. You know, and I'm not being too sharp that day. I says, where in Georgia? He said, Waycross, Georgia. So after a while, I got it. That was the town where he was from. You know, I was expecting him to say Atlanta, Savannah, Macon, Augusta, and so forth. He was accepted into his family. And I understand that he had dinner with him many other Sundays after that. Most of us know our speaker as a state legislator. For over 35 years, he made laws, voted on business, balanced budgets, and was chairman of one of the most powerful committees in Norfolk, the Appropriations Committee. He has worked with 4 governors, 3 of which were Republicans and 1 Democrat. And by the way, Bill, if you didn't know, is a Democrat. And all 4 governors, whether they're Republican or Democrat, always had high comments about Bill Dyson in terms of how they enjoy tireless for the homeless in our state. He's worked with those who have been released from prison. Bill has served the least among us. Bill Dyson has been their champion. And friends, he did this for over 35 years. That's a long time. 35 years. I feel very strongly that he still should be there. But for some points I won't bring on today, he's not. But I get the distinct feeling that God is not through with Bill Dyson yet. The politicians may have been through, but I think our Lord still has work for him to do. However, there is another area of Bill's achievements that go unrecognized. He has made his greatest contributions in the field of education. Bill taught school for 37 years. Lincoln Bassett, right here in our own community. He has reached hundreds of young men and women. He has shaped their lives. His legacy will probably be, he's probably one of the greatest legislators in the history of Connecticut. But for the kids that he served and their parents, he will be known as the greatest teacher that they have had. So my friends, New Hallville, we all know it's a community. It's a couple of blocks that starts a couple of blocks from here. New Hallville. I'm hoping one day I'm hoping one day the city's fathers will sort of, not necessarily rename it, but add another name to New Hallville. And where New Hall will be called New Hallville / Dyson. Because that's the type of contribution that he has made forth.
about the beginning of this church, 1820. You remember the colonization societies started at the same time period, which meant that there must have been one heck of a debate going on in America at that time as to what it is that people would do, whether they were to remain here or to leave. Now, Rosa mentioned President James Monroe. If you remember, the capital of the country in which many returned is Liberia. The name of that capital is Monrovia. Name for Monroe. The Arrowwood Field. debate going on. What is it that people want to do? Remain made a decision. They're going to remain. They're going to make a case right here. Others left to start another country. And during that same time period, there was this guy that played an important role in the homicide event, who became that president in 1824, John Quincy Adams. It was also the arrival of another guy on the scene that it represents democracy for today, Andrew Jackson. It's the arrival on the scene of another guy, John C. Calhoun College, Yale. So 1820, this church and the things that were going on must have been monumental. I can just imagine the debate going on at that time. And it still goes on today. Now let me tell you how I bring it over into what goes on today. Now, I thought that I would take the theme of today's speech here, and that is the theme being pride in our past, faith in our future, and I want to dwell on the future. I've talked about the past, but I want to dwell on the future. Now, what does the future hold for us, and what's in store for the future of this place? And I'm not just talking New Haven, Connecticut, I'm talking nationally, I'm talking all of it. What does the future hold? And where are we? Where do we stand? Let me give you just some sense of what it is that I engage in from day to day. So I give you a litany of it, and it serves as a kind of a framework for much of what I think I see. What I think I see. Now, about a week ago, I went to a prison up near Yukon. They wanted me to come up and talk to the inmates there. And I went up. And the thing that I was to do was to talk to them and give them hope. Now that's quite a task for someone confined that may have lost all hope, to try to give them hope and leave them in a confined environment wherever I can make a connection. And I talked to this group, it must have been about 100 guys, and when it was over, a guy walked up to me, must have been 18 or 19, and he said, "Hi, Mr. Dyson." I don't know the guy. But he knew me. "Hi, Mr. Dyson. How's your grandson?" I said, "Wow! Here is my grandson's classmate. He's here, my grandson is some other place." And I'm thinking, my grandson, who I have some anxiety about the kind of decisions he makes. And here, I got this young man walking up saying, "How's your grandson?" And I'm just saying, "Gee, how did life send you here and my grandson some other place?" And then, as we talk, if he comes to the magnitude of people who are in the same situation, how many young kids who are not sitting here today, yes, sir, and what they are confronted with in their lives, and better yet, what their lives are going to be. What they are going to be. And it's not good. It's not good. So you can just take that young kid, 18 or 19, already a parent, confined to an institution. How many does he represent? Okay, let me leave that one over there. And Senator Harper and others, we talked about last Saturday, we were here at the church because I was invited with the George Crawford Law Society to come over to St. Louis and participate in the event over there. And the event over there, I put on my best outfit, because I didn't know what to expect. Put on my best outfit and I went over. And as I drove in, I saw there must have been 40 or 50 people standing outside. And I'm thinking, no, that's not what I came to for, because I'm dressed. I did that, So I walked through the crowd. As I walked through the crowd, I said, "Hey, how you doing? What's up?" And what I'm doing when I do that is that I'm trying to demonstrate whatever your lot in life is, I cannot ignore you. I must say, hey, how you doing? What's up? You having a good day? I must recognize you as an individual, as a person. So I'm thinking the program is inside. So I kind of walk on inside. And I find out this is it. This is it. And what I had is that they were going to feed him a meal, breakfast that morning. Got there about 8:15. Going to feed them a breakfast. And as I stood and watched the crowd, it kind of just blew me away. The numbers that showed up for that breakfast in St. Luke on last Saturday morning. And I couldn't help but think, I wonder where they slept before they got there. So I take the kid in school with my son, I take my grandson, I take the breakfast, and I put that into a pot, if you will. And let me go to the next. I go over to my friend's West shelter regularly, you know, just to kind of hang out, look around, see what they're doing, and just to go. And I run into more people that I have known over the years, people in school and life, and the question comes to mind, what's next? What's next? So now I have the kid at school, my grandson, St. Luke's, the breakfast, the number of people there, the shelter, and the people who hovering around, having no hope at all. And then I think in terms of a forum that we had 1st of February at Central Connecticut State University. And this forum pertained to one subject that we've often forgotten, some of the office were familiar with it, and that is the children of incarcerated parents. Children of incarcerated parents. And that is a huge number. A huge number. And it's compounded by virtue of the fact we don't engage in trying to keep up with those numbers. It's just bam, done, over, out. And we had this forum, and there we are on this panel, and I'm moderating this panel. So there I am at this panel, and the people who were there, each of them have had a parent that was confined to an institution. And they were talking about their anger. So I'm thinking, gee, if they are angry and they are adults, let me think of how many children of incarcerated parents are harboring anger now about the fact that the parent is dead. And where does that lead us for the future? Mind-blowing, mind-blowing. And you take another now. If you take the kid with my grandson, the breakfast at St. Luke's, the shelter with my friend West, you talk about the children of incarcerated parents. Now let's talk about achievement gap. Let's talk about achievement gap. And we all know that there's a gap. That the absence of success on the part of many that are going to be the protectors of our future. Somehow, we don't have the ability to close the gap. See, so, and I'll extend on that achievement gap by something that I'm going to be doing next week, and I'll tell you about that. And then we add to this health disparity. I had this friend, and I hope you forgive me for mentioning him, but my friend Jim Barber. Jim Barber is just as robust and coach and all that stuff. He had a stroke. And it never occurred to him that that was something that would happen to him. So even as he's in the midst of the stroke, he had some notion he could sleep it off. You know, I just rest, you know, just sleep. My son saw him and saw him stagger, and my son said, "Mr. Bob, are you all right?" He said, "Oh, I'm okay. I just need to sleep it off, you know." So he slept on it for about 2 days, you know. And then finally, when Doris made him go to the hospital, they realized he'd had a stroke and he could no longer walk. So I pointed out he's better now. Now he can walk. He needs a cane. He needs a walker. And the issue that he has is balance now. It is balance. And so he's got to retrain the mind to deal with the balance piece. Now I point out the health disparity, achievement gap, all the issues, other issues that I pointed out. One, to put all of us on notice about all those important issues that unless we are face to face with them, we ignore them. We ignore the health disparity. The achievement gap doesn't reside in the mentality of many. Those who are children of incarcerated parents, unless you are out there looking at them and realizing they're passing you every day, it's not there. It's not there. And so the question becomes, what about the future? The theme for today. What about the future? Now, here's something I've had. I teach some now and over at the college in Britain, and I have these classes of young people, and I have come to realize some things, and I don't mean it disparagingly, but reading ain't their bag. Reading ain't their bag, you know. So it is tough, you know, if the reading is not there, that you can get young people to engage in critical thinking. I mean, it's tough. So I try things, you know. So I had this group of young people, and I said, you know, let us go to the Capitol on the first day the session opened, and I want you there just to smell the place, feel the place, see the place. I just want you there. So I had one young lady sitting in front of me, you know, and I said, yeah, I want you guys to show up. And she said, where is it? I'm thinking she kind of kidded me just a little bit. You know, and I said, where do you live, honey? You know, and I was wrong for doing it that way, you know, but I said, where do you live, honey? She said, West Hartford. Now I hope it's clicking with you. West Hartford, and she didn't know how to get to the Capitol. I said, okay, maybe I need to move back just a little bit and do not make assumptions about what it is I think people should know or know. She didn't know. She was one of the first ones to find out how to get there, though. But if she didn't know, how many others do not know? So I really wanted out to do this. There is this gap that exists among us about our assumptions on what it is that people know and don't know. And that gap we rarely ever bridge. So that gulf remains. And as that gulf remains, the issues that matters most to us all are there just lingering, not being dealt with. Be it that young man in prison, be it that soup kitchen in St. Louis, be it that shelter that West Dillsbury, be it the children of incarcerated parents, be it the achievement gap, be it the health disparity. They just linger. They just linger. And they linger not because people of goodwill are not prepared to engage in doing something. Just don't know. Just don't know. And it's important that we find out what it is to engage in trying to do something about it. What is it that we should do? What is it that we should do collectively now? What should we do about it? What can we do about those children of incarcerated parents? What can we do about that young man that made a bad decision? What can we do about the health disparity? I mean, I said to my friend Jim, I said, you know, I'd love to have you go to church and just have the people see you walk in so that it would be a beacon for everybody who need to make an inquiry about their health and just put it off for the longest and have not engaged in checking on their health. I'll ask the question, how many people have had the colonoscopies? Don't answer. Teaching, you know, the two of them over at Central. And I try to get them to engage in some thinking, you know. So what I do, I go to the class and I ask them an off-the-wall question to see if they can come back at me with a response. So the question I have, a pet question I have, is I'll take something from a news article. So what question I've been using lately is that, what do you do with sex offenders who have served their time? You know, and you get the whole gamut of stuff. To shooting and all kinds of things. You get the whole gamut. And so I look at them and I say, but they served their time. What do you do about that? So what I'm trying to really get them to do is that don't give me any flip answers. Think about what you're saying, what the impact of it is. Think about it. Think about it. So I'm trying to get them to think, but so I give them this setting. You have in New Haven, we have, say, 125 people, and I've given this to people. 125 people returning each month to New Haven from prison. 125 every month to New Haven from prison. Now, just do the numbers. Over a year's time, 1,500. Now, just think about that. Give them a particular age bracket, say 16 or 18 to 35, and then you apply to that they're primarily male. And if you add to that, they usually are parents as well. And then you add to that the likelihood of them being able to be employed. And then you add to that where they're going to be confined in terms of where they live. So you have for yourself a nice, neat little belt of community that consists of returnees from prison, 16 to 35, primarily male, confined to particular areas, and all of them, not all of them, most of them being parents. What does that say about the future? What does that say about the future? And you know as well as I, what people used to survive with years past no longer works today. You're required to have something else. Now, the discussion I had the other day with my class is that, can we make accommodations on all of these people? Issues that matter to people and people who have goodwill. What do we do? This is not just a city issue. It's not just a state issue. It's a national issue. It's not just New Haven. It's Hartford. It's not just Hartford. It's Bridgeport. It's not just Bridgeport. It's Stanford. It's not just Stanford. It's New York. It's Detroit. It's Chicago. It's D.C. It's Richmond. It's Atlanta. It's all those places. All suffering the same thing. What do we have now? What is the future to be? The future has got to be bleak, considering what you are confronted with. And the only way it's going to be changed is people such as yourself of goodwill doing something about it. And someone said something, I think might have been North Carolina. Rosa said, you know, it's something about old people, you know, and I for one feel that there are values, there's direction and guidance provided by all of us. That because we reach a certain point in life does not mean we do not have something to offer. I'll say something here that I don't usually do. We must do it. We must look at those kids of incarcerated families. We must do what we can about the achievement gap. We ought to be concerned with health disparity. We ought to be the ones who bridge that gap and close it. We are the ones to do that. We can't look only on anyone else to do it. We are the ones to do it. And we have the wherewithal to get it done. We just have to collectively be about the business of doing it. I used to come to church here, and go to church and get out real quick.